finest proportions of the top of the head of all the men out there. Just all the proportions you could have on the top of your head. His were the most beautiful. And one day he was at the haberdashery trying to find just the perfect hat for his next shoot. Thank you, Tom, for being the only person who knows what a haberdashery is.
He's not the only one.
And he came around a corner and he saw just the most perfect hat ever. And he couldn't quite reach it. It was up high on a shelf. He couldn't quite reach the hat, and so he went to ask a sales associate for help. And the woman was standing away, and he taps her on the back of the shoulder, says, "Excuse me, miss." And she turns around, and what he sees is the most beautiful woman he's ever seen in his entire life. Excuse me, miss, could you help me get that hat? And she says, "Of course." She goes and gets the stick, reaches up and gets the hat, and when she sees the hat on his perfectly proportioned head, she immediately falls in love with him, as he had immediately fallen in love with her on sight. And they begin to talk, and the time passes, and they just kind of lose track of time, and he asks her on a date, and she says yes, and the date turns into a relationship. The relationship lasts a while, and eventually he asks her to marry him. And she says, "Of course I'll marry you. I love you. I'd do anything for you." And he says, "I love you too. I just have to ask you one thing. You can never, ever ask me why I'm building a black tile pool and putting a shark in it, or else I have to kill you." And she hears this, and she's like, "Okay, whatever, models say some weird shit sometimes, like, whatever, maybe, I don't know." She lets it go. And so they get married, they go on their honeymoon, they move back into their new house together. And the second day they're in the house, the wife is woken up to the sound of beep, beep, beep. What the hell? She gets up and looks out the window, and it's a backhoe backing up to dig up earth for a pool. And there's a big stack of black tiles, there's a shark in a shark tank, and she's like, "What the hell, are you serious? Oh, he's really doing this, okay." And she goes out to the kitchen where he's already eating breakfast and says, "Okay, honey, so this is for real. Why are you building this black tile pool and putting a shark in it?" And he says, "I really wish you hadn't have asked me that, because now I have to kill you." And so he killed her. And he fled to... Where'd he flee to?
Jamaica!
Madagascar! Fiji!
Mesopotamia!
He fled to the Galapagos Islands to live among the turtles. And as he tried to begin life anew, living among the tortoises, tortoisei, the little critters with shells. And as he made his life among the tortoises. And while he was there, a ship showed up on shore, and it was a group of scientists there to study the tortoises. And he was worried that they might hurt the tortoises, because a lot of them seemed, they didn't seem to particularly care about the well-being of the tortoises. They were just there for science. But there was one particular scientist who stood out, who was tender with the tortoises. Tender in a way that he would like to be treated tenderly.
Kind to them.
And he approached her one day and says, "I can show you the secrets of the tortoises." And she goes with him and carries her, and he takes her back to the tortoise abode and shows her the ways of the tortoise that he has learned in his time in the Galapagos. And as she's learning, she's slowly but surely learning more about him than she is about the tortoises. And they slowly but surely fall in love. And she says, I have to take you back to America. We have have to continue our love. And he drops down to a knee, and he takes a stone that was special to the Galapagos tortoise, offers it to her, and says, "Will you marry me?" And she says, "Of course I'll marry you. I love you. I would do anything for you." And he says, "I love you too. I just have to ask you one thing. You can never, ever, ever ask me why I'm building a black tile pool and putting a shark in it, or else I have to kill you." And she thinks, okay, whatever, he's spent too much time on this island, it's whatever, we'll take him back to America, he'll get back to a normal life, and things will be good. And so they go back to America, they get married, they go on their honeymoon, and they move back into their new house. And the second day, the wife is woken up to the sound of beep, beep, beep. Oh, what the hell? There's all this construction equipment in the backyard. There's a giant stack of black tiles, shark in the shark tank, construction equipment everywhere, backhoe digging up the earth. She has no idea where he got any of this money from. And she's looking out and goes, "Oh, okay, so I guess he's really doing this. I don't know, was he working on this on the island or what? I don't know, whatever. Fuck it. If he's going to do it, let him do it." They are married for a year. A year goes by, and they're still not done building this pool. The construction equipment has gotten bigger and bigger. The tiles have gotten more ornate. There's all these different shades of black tile. The shark has grown larger. They're having to feed it more and more. And after a year, she just can't take it anymore. It's been eating at her every day. And she says, "Honey, I gotta know. I have to know. Why are you building this black tile pool and putting a shark in it?" And he says, I really wish you hadn't have asked me that. Because now I have to kill you. So he killed her. And he flees again. Where does he flee?
Mars.
Russia.
He flees to Russia. He flees to Russia, and he's driving down a road in the middle of nowhere through the snow and the blizzard and the wind, and he's just trying to figure out his life. His life has been so crazy these last few years, and just how is he going to get back to any semblance of a normal life? And he's driving down this road, and he's not paying enough attention to the road, and he hits a patch of black ice, and he skids, and he can't quite, and he overcorrects, and he falls off the cliff face on the side of the road, just boom. Tumbles to the ground, the car is upside down. He's barely conscious, he's woozy, can hear a few sounds, but there's nothing. He can, if he could even muster the strength to call for help, nobody could hear him. But, luckily for him, there was a police car driving about a mile behind him who also hit the same patch of black ice, but paying more attention to the road was able to correct properly. And as soon as the police officer corrected that black ice movement, saw that there's clearly a mark in the snow on the edge of this cliff on the side of the road where something has hit it. There's a clear marcation where something is down there. And she parks the car, she gets out of her car and looks down into the chasm and sees an upside down car. It's beginning to smoke. And she hollers out, "Is there anybody down there? Is there anybody down there?" But, like in Russian, but And she hears a faint whisper, a faint gasp of just exhaustion and desperation. And she rushes down there, and she sees the man trapped in the car. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, let me help you." She pulls out a knife and goes to cut the seatbelt out to drag him out. And as he's fading in and out of consciousness, and he sees that this woman is helping him, but he also hears a noise from behind him. And that noise is faint. It's getting louder. It's getting louder. It's getting louder. And it's getting louder. And his heart starts to pump, and the adrenaline starts to wake him up a little bit. And the police officer drags him out. And as that noise from behind him gets louder and louder, he hears, and there's a giant Russian bear standing behind them. Sorry, I can't do a Russian bear accent. It's just a bear.
That's pretty
And as they're trying to get up the hill to get back to the road, the bear takes a swipe at the woman, knocks him off of her shoulders, and he drops to the ground and rolls, finds her knife down by the car, and as the bear lunges at the policewoman one more time, his heart has completely woken up from the adrenaline. He picks up the knife, runs over to the bear, leaps in the air, plunges the knife into the bear's head and drags it down, killing the bear as the smoke from the car is getting thicker and thicker and it's becoming almost impossible to breathe. But he throws the bear off in one last act of strength, and him and the policewoman, they go hand in hand, rushing up to the top of the cliff to get back to the road, and just as they get to the ledge, the car explodes. And they jump into the road, shrapnel flying over their heads. And then it becomes calm. It becomes quiet. They turn and they see the certain death that they just escaped. They see bare guts and blood and shit from the explosion. And they turn to each other and begin to passionately make love right there in the bloody snow. And it's the best session of lovemaking either of them have ever had in their entire life. They're entirely engulfed in the fear of death, but the wonder of life as they make love there in the middle of the snow, on the side of the road, in the middle of the forest. And as they're finishing up, he turns to her and he says, by the way, he knows a little bit of Russian. And he says, this is certainly too quick, but I can't help myself. This is the most amazing experience of my entire life. Will you marry me? And she says, of course I'll marry you. I love you. I would do anything for you. And he says, I love you too. I just have to ask you this one thing. You can never, ever, ever, ever ask me why I'm building a black tile pool and putting a shark in it, or else I have to kill you. And as soon as he says that, her ears perk up. Her expression completely changes. Just, wait a minute. I remember hearing about this guy back at the police station. I know who this is. Her sense of love and wonderment turns to hate and disgust, and she immediately pulls her gun from her side and says, get on the fucking ground, you're going with me. We're sending you back to the United States. I know who you are. And defeated, he gets on the ground. She handcuffs him, takes him back to the station. They extradite him back to the United States to stand trial for the murder of those two women. He's tried for murder, he's found guilty, and he's sentenced to death. The day of his execution comes, and he's sitting in the electric chair. The warden comes up to him and says, all right, dude, so before we do this, I gotta know, why are you building the black tile pool and putting a shark in it? Spits in the warden's eyes, says, fuck you, I'm not telling you why I'm building a black tile pool and putting a shark in it. And he says, all right, and that just means I'm going to enjoy this all that much more. He goes over to the handle, pull the switch on the electric chair, and as he's about to pull the switch, the phone rings. It's the governor. He says, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Hello? Yes, this is Governor Scott. I just got off the phone with the President of the United States, and the President says that he needs to know why this man was building a black tile pool and putting a shark in it. Why? Why? Who do you care? The guy's fucking crazy. What difference does it make? He's just a nut job. And he says, that is a direct order from the President, sir. There are only 2 people who have ever asked him why he was building a black tile pool and putting a shark in it, and those people are both dead, okay? This could be a matter of national security. This could be something bigger than himself. The President said that he is willing to offer him a full pardon if he will tell you why he was building the black tile pool and putting a shark in it. And the warden's like, no, you can't, surely you can't be serious. He says, yeah, I'm serious. That's direct order from the President. Okay. Hangs the phone up, goes back to the man in the electric chair and says, all right, buddy, look, it's your lucky day. I just got off the phone with the governor. He said the president is going to pardon you if you tell me why you're building a black tile pool and putting a shark in it. Spits in his other eye. Fuck you, I'm not telling you I'm building a black tile pool and putting a shark in it. And he's like, listen dude, I don't think you understand. You're going to die today if you do not tell me why you're building a black tile pool and putting a shark in it. You just tell me. Just tell me why. And you're a free man. You walk out those doors today. All you have to do is tell me why you were building a black tile pool and putting a shark in it. And he gets real quiet. He sort of averts his gaze. He looks down. He looks side to side. He's in deep thought, and he looks up to the sky as though he's looking for divine guidance. A single tear rolls down his eye. He looks up at the warden, and he says, I'm sorry, I can't tell you why I'm building a black tile pool and putting a shark in it. And so they killed him. And now we will never know why he was building a black tile pool and putting a shark in it. Thank you very much.
I kind of know why he was. I kind of get why you would want to have a black tile pool and put a shark in it. Based on who this guy is, good job. I kind of get it.